Hello lovely peeps. I thought we could do a series of short lives and have a bit more time for Q&A instead. So, one of the questions we most often get asked, weirdly enough in some ways, is how do I get started with the human being diet? And truth be told, there are a lot of people who don't know that the human being diet has got anything to do with this book, or even that there is a book, which of course there is. And the second edition came out towards the end of last year. So I just wanted to give people a few pointers for that, because it is a common question. So, how do I get started with the human being diet? 1. Read my book, The Human Being Diet, and read it again. That's the number one and most important rule. If ever there's a third edition, which isn't looking likely at the moment, I must say, of The Human Being Diet, I think that I would put read the book and read it again, included in the book, as the first number one rule for success, because it's so important. It's to do with something called deep learning. Knowledge is power. It's a hackneyed phrase, but it's still true. And if you really want to get the most out of HBD, you really need to read that book and read it again. And I promise it's an easy read. So, if you do that, you're set for success. That's setting your intention, of course, and various other things which we'll come on to. You can find the book on Amazon, because I think that we sold out for the time being temporarily on the website, which is thehumanbeingdiet.com. So you can also get the main book, The Human Being Diet. Make sure you put in second edition on amazon.co.uk and .com. Apart from that rule, this new rule, which will be in the third edition if ever there is one, which is read the book and read it again. There are 10 other golden rules, and they're all equally important. And one of the keys to success is, as I was just saying, with HBD, is deep learning. And that's referred to at the beginning of the book. And it's getting to the nitty-gritty and understanding why the rules are all important. For one, I think it's very hard to follow rules if I don't understand why. I remember that particularly at school. Maths is going to be important to you for the rest of your life. Well, I couldn't understand how that could possibly be, and as a result, I was pretty useless at maths anyway, but I didn't even try. So, deep learning. Once you really get the rules, you won't be tempted to cheat or go off course, because you'll understand exactly what going away from the rules or cheating or going off the rails, what effect that will be having on your metabolism. And cheating is ultimately self-sabotage. So remember that, it's really important. So the only person you'd really be hurting by cheating or going AWOL is yourself. And you don't want to do that, because HBD is all about honouring ourselves and loving ourselves and respecting ourselves and committing to this new way of eating, even though it feels quite scary at the beginning. So, how do we get started with Human Being Diet? Number 1, read the book and read it again. Number 2, and you're here already, and this is really for the people who will be watching this on catch-up, join the weekly lives, Tuesdays at 6:30, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. And that's where you can hear HBD's stories. And stories are not only interesting, they are super inspiring. Because I bet everybody's been in the same position that you might be in now if you're sitting on the fence or wondering, shall I, shan't I, what do I do first? And you might be thinking, I haven't got the willpower, I haven't got the energy, I haven't got the strength to do this, but you can. It's all been thought of before, and the people who generously come on and do the lives prove that that's the truth of it. So that's what this is really all about. It's about inviting HBDers on and getting them to share their stories to inspire you and help you on your HBD journey. So far we've got how do I get started? Read the book, join us on the weekly lives, do a deep dive into your whys. What do you want to change? Why is it important to you? It's important to you if whatever it is having a negative impact on your joy in life. And if it's losing weight, that's fair enough. Don't let anybody talk you out of this or put you in any doubt about why it's important to you. If you know it's important to you, you stick to your guns and take no notice of anybody who's saying, oh, it doesn't matter, or just have another cream bun, or whatever it is. It is important. And it could be weight loss, or it could be pain and inflammation, or it could be asthma or eczema or irritable bowel, or any of those things. So deep dive into your whys. Put a start date, once you've read the book, of course, and you've looked at back at a few of the Instagram lives, which are a very good resource. Put a start date in your diary. Put it out in the universe, saying, I'm really serious about this. This is what I'm going to do, and I know why. That's very, very key. So remember that you need 16 clear days. The first 16 days are sacrosanct. Nothing must interrupt that process. It's really, really, really important. And I wanted to say to you, if you're itching to get started, but you haven't got a clear 16 days for a while, you can jump in with phase 3. Get rid of all the processed food, get rid of the sugar, get rid of the wheat, start drinking lots of water, remembering to add extra virgin olive oil, EVOO, to your meals, and not snacking. So there's lots you can do in the meantime before you really jump into the 16-day reset. Reset, by the way, is the first 16 days are known as the reset, and that's phase 1, which is only vegetables, and phase 2, which is obviously following all the rules to the letter, weighing all your foods, having 5 hours between, and not eating anything that isn't on the food list. So that's put a date in your diary, a start date. Buddy up with someone if you possibly can. That really, really helps. And it doesn't matter if it's an old friend or somebody you've met on Instagram. The key is try not to do it on your own. It really, really helps to have not only the moral support, but also it's kind of responsibility. And if you're doing it with a friend or a group of friends, you all kind of owe it to each other to commit to this and to do it as well as you possibly can. So that's really important. Get yourself a copy of the HBD Cookbook, which is here. There is a slightly unhelpful review on Amazon which says, don't bother reading the main book, this is all you need to succeed with HBD, which is really kind of unfair, and I regret that it's up there. But anyway, there it is. The HBD Cookbook is the companion to the main book. It's a beautiful book, but it's not HBD. It doesn't explain the program. It's a recipe book, and it's designed to make your life easier, and it contains recipes for omnivores, vegetarians, and vegans. But it's not the human being diet. It is just a companion, although, as I said, a very beautiful companion. Many of the dishes in the HBD Cookbook are one-pot dishes, which are not only simple, but which really minimise the washing up, which I think is absolutely wonderful. That's a big win-win. I mean, that sometimes, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it sometimes puts me off cooking more elaborate things because I'm already thinking about the washing up. But almost all the recipes in the HBD Cookbook are one-pot, maximum 2-pot dishes. So I hope that you find that really helpful. And Ricardo and I were invited onto TV in Tampa, Florida, which sounds like it must be quite close, but it's about 4 hours drive from where we are. It's further up and it's on the west coast, whereas we're on the east coast. And we cooked them the garlicky prawn courgette, delicious, on page 186. And it's really simple and it smells amazing when it's cooking. It makes you feel like a real domestic goddess. She's saying, I often get asked the same question about the cookbook and say exactly that. The cookbook is a companion to the HBD cookbook. The HBD diet book. The human being diet is what we're talking about. Commit. We touched on that earlier on. Make a commitment to yourself, to honour yourself, and to be patient and kind with yourself. And we'll talk more about that next week. With a slightly scratchy throat. It's completely normal to feel apprehensive or nervous about starting, and not just the human being diet, but about starting anything new, starting anything that we don't really understand yet because we haven't done it before. And Ricardo said to me, and I think it's very, very good advice, if you're nervous about anything or even slightly dreading something, remember that that's a very similar feeling to excitement. So let's reframe that feeling as excitement. Excitement about how much you're looking forward to getting started with HBD. Other things to do, sign up for the newsletter on the website, which is thehumanbeingdiet.com, because that will give you notice of new blogs, and you'll also get news of events on what's happening in the HBD world. So that's sign up for the newsletter. And then subscribe to our YouTube channel. It hasn't been going for very long, and not many people know about it. We're starting to populate with the most popular Instagram lives as well as shorts. And that is youtube.com/@PetronellaTheHumanBeingDiet.com. And I also wanted to say next week we'll be doing a live just for newbies, an extension of this one in a bit more detail. Because I know there are quite a few newbies amongst us, and I want to say a heartfelt and loving welcome to you. It's lovely to have you with us. And any questions, any support you need, we're all here. Just saying hello to more people as they're joining us, and then I'm going to have a look at the questions because I can see 4 people have put a question in the special place, which is wonderful. So let's have a look at those. So Lindy says, I've just done phase 1 and wonder if I can do another day or 2 as I really enjoyed it, or does that not make sense in the process? Thank you. It's a great question, Lindy, but no, if you're really following the programme, you want to follow it to the letter, which means 2 days of phase 1 and then on to phase 2 we go. So thank you for that. Grant, Kath, 4 years on HBD. Recently I've regained about 3 kilos. I started doing strict phase 3, but I'm also enjoying lots of exercise, nothing too hardcore. Do you think I'll lose the weight this way, or do I need to do a reset? Can't really face another one. No, you don't have to do a reset at all, but do be very careful with the exercise. Remember that intense or heavy, vigorous exercise and HBD are mutually exclusive. That means it's really a choice of one or the other. You know, either you choose to do HBD, get the weight back off, and then once you're where you want to be again, go into phase 4 and reintroduce heavy exercise, or forget about HBD and just do the exercise. But I'm sorry, you can't do both. HBD is all about getting us to spend more time in the rest and digest part of the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. Whereas when we're doing heavy exercise, vigorous, intense exercise, we are naturally pushed into the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight-flight. And it just doesn't work if we do both. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps, Kath. Life's Mrs. Faye, hello. New to HBD. How do you build in rye bread? I read the book last week. Good, I'm really glad you read the book. Personally, when I'm doing HBD, or generally, I don't include rye bread. But you can. I know that it really helps if you're having a difficult day and you're feeling a bit hard done by, that a bit of rye toast, especially for breakfast, with poached eggs, avocados, some tomato, can really, really give you a lift. So I'd say only if you really want it, and 100 grams maximum once a week. Okay? I think that's probably the best advice I can give you. And do make sure that your rye bread doesn't contain any seeds or any other grains other than rye. Really important. Essentially by nature, what's your view on menopausal women having 30 grams of actual protein per meal? I'm not quite sure, what you mean, but there are lots of menopausal and perimenopausal women on here who are finding that if they have 120 grams of a protein food, such as fish, meat or chicken, or 2 eggs, or tofu or tempeh, with a mixture of vegetables, they do very, very well. We don't need to count macros or be concerned about that. So I hope you'll join the gang and just trust the process and have the allocated amount of protein. So depending on weight, your starting weight would be 120 or 130 or 140 grams of a protein food when you start. Well, that worked really well. Thanks for your questions. But just for a quick recap, read the book, my book, The Human Being Diet, and read it again. That's the number 1 most important rule, followed by the 10 rules you'll find within the book. Join us on the weekly lives. Here you are. Thank you very much for joining us. And Tuesdays at 6:30, 1:30 EST to hear HBDers' inspirational and fantastic stories about their journey or their adventure with HBD and what's changed for them. And we're really honoured to have people on here sharing their stories. And by the way, speaking of sharing your stories, do please, if you'd like to share your story, get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. So that's join us on the weekly lives. That is point 2. 3, do a deep dive into your whys. What do you want to change? What is your inspirational dissatisfaction? What is drawing you to HBD? Put a start date in your diary, make it real. Put it in the universe. Remember, you need 16 clear days, and the first 16 days are sacrosanct, the phase 1 and phase 2, so nothing must interrupt them. And as we were saying earlier on, if you haven't got 16 clear days but you're longing to start, you're itching to start, jump in at phase 3. Get rid of all the processed food, sugar, wheat, all that kind of thing. Drink loads of water, starting your day, of course, with at least a pint of water. And get rid of sugar. Sorry, I can't remember if I said that. And do cook with extra virgin olive oil. So there's no need not to start getting yourself into a better place health-wise than you feel you are now. Buddy up with someone if you possibly can. Whether it be an old friend or somebody you've met on Instagram, it really helps to have that responsibility and accountability. And also just somebody to hold hands with. Get yourself a copy of the HBD Cookbook when you're ready to start. The HBD Cookbook is a companion to the main book. It's not the human being diet. It is a help to make the human being diet adventure more delicious and easier. And commit. Make a commitment to yourself to honour yourself. Make a commitment to yourself to be patient and kind and loving with yourself. It's normal to feel apprehensive about or nervous about starting anything new, just not just HBD, and try and reframe that feeling into excitement about how much you're looking forward to getting going with HBD, about how you're looking forward to feeling so much better, whatever it is that's drawn you towards HBD. Really important. And sign up for the newsletter so that you don't miss out on any HBD news or events. That is at humanbeingdiet.com. And also subscribe to our relatively new, and we've only just started putting stuff up on it, YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/at Petronella, the human being diet. And as I was saying earlier on, next week we will do a live just for newbies, which this is kind of just a newbie live, but I know that there are lots of questions flying about, which is brilliant. And so I hope that that's been helpful for you about how do you get started with HBD. The main thing is to get off the fence and just say, okay, I'm in. Look back at all the lives, a really great resource, and read the book and read it again and put it by your bed and just read a chapter or two every night before you go to bed. And that helps to start the deep learning process percolate in your head and gets your subconscious ready for the change that lie ahead. Hi, thanks for all the information, and I'm committed to the process as my friend says it's brilliant. Yay. However, I'm day 9, phase 2, and I feel dreadful. Very hungry and no energy, very fuzzy-headed and tired. Is this normal? And will it go away? Will it go in phase 3? I've been following pretty much to the letter. It will go, and I find very often, and I hear from people, and I find it myself, days 7, 8, 9, for some reason, can be the toughest. So grit your teeth, my darling, and stick with the plan and keep the faith, and I promise you'll feel better. Something that might help is to add more salt, more sea salt to your food. But it is completely normal, and your body is still looking for energy, and it hasn't quite snapped into fat burning yet, which is why you're feeling so tired, but it will. Your body's still looking for carbs to burn for energy, probably because, or possibly because you might have had quite a few carbs in your diet in the past, but it is normal and it does go. And I think that nearly all of us have been there. So do as little as you possibly can. Have Epsom salt baths at night. They can really help, before bed. Don't make the mistake of adding a tablespoon because that won't have any effect. Add at least a pound to a hot bath, even if it is hot outside, and soak for 10 minutes before bed. That really, really helps. It speeds up the detox and it's good for energy as well. So I hope that helps. 40 Fashion and Lifestyle. Hello. Hi Petronella, my blood pressure is always borderline high. Will the HBD diet help? I can't swear that it will help, and I can't swear that it's anything to do with HBD, but I can say that the natural, minimally processed, nutritious, health-giving whole foods that you will be eating on HBD, yes, can definitely help. And I've heard from lots of people that their blood pressure has normalised. So obviously not making any promises or any claims for HBD, but yes. So I hope you'll jump in and let us know. We'd love to hear how you get on. Jenny Joyce 1310, how often should you do a reset? So it's recommended once a year, and you don't have to do it once a year. I didn't do it for a couple of years. I did it last year and I did it this year in spring just because I felt I needed to. It was an emotional detox as much as a physical detox. So the idea with not resetting more than once, maximum twice a year, is to break that yo-yo pattern. It's really important that we use the first 3 months of the program, the process, to start a new lifestyle for life without going back. With building on that and building on our health, rather than ricocheting between the different phases. It's really, really important. So again, another good reason to revisit your whys. Why did you start this? What do you want to achieve? How important is it to you? And that's all in the book, obviously. I'll just see if I can find it in the incredibly good index. No, that says why eat organic. And anyway, it's definitely in here. Before you start, yes, that's what it's called. The Mindset and Your Whys from page 117. Really important. Hope that helps. Jenny Joyce, reset once a year, maximum twice. Okay? No flip-flopping. Bloody HBD, hi there. Wonderful live, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Quick question, is corn an alternative protein? No, sadly not. Corn is it is an ultra-processed food. Well, if it's a food. I know that it's got protein in it, but I used to see people in clinic who were kind of pretty hooked on corn. But what you can have instead is tofu or tempeh. They are much less processed and much better quality protein as well, because they're made of soy, and soy protein is the only protein that's comparable to animal protein. So really, really important. Thanks for your question. Lauren Masters, 1990. Is 120 grams protein weight cooked or raw? So everything, as you'll see in the book, is raw weight. And you'll see that every place there's a food planner. It says, weights for main meals, always weigh your foods before cooking. You're not going to cook your smoked salmon, which is why it's 100 grams of smoked salmon rather than 120, or 110 grams if you're on 130 gram portions. But other than that, yes, weigh everything raw. Linda J, 63, I've just done phase 1 and wonder if I can do another. We've got back to the beginning. Linda J, 63, thank you for your question, and I hope you're convinced now that you're going to go straight into phase 2. A very dedicated community and very inspiring. Waving at a few people here. So I hope that's helped. And next week we will be back with a special live just for newbies, because I know that you're here, lovely newbies, and we're looking forward to hearing how you're getting on and to meeting you properly on Instagram. And do start sharing your recipes, your successes, not just successes, the tough days as well. And we'll welcome you with open arms. Anyway, thank you for joining. Lovely to see you.